What is this game? I've never seen this.
Holy shit. Bonk, this is your chance. Do the All For One intro, and we'll put this in place of an actual intro. All right, ready, go.
Oh my god, I'm on the spot.
All right, go. Here's your chance, go.
Hang on.
I'll cue you in. I'll cue you in. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Give me a second.
1.
On March 11th, 2019, Path of Exile announced a new stash tab to be added, the Unique tab. This allows you to store and showcase one copy of every unique in-game. When I read that, I knew what I had to do. I've set off to obtain every unique in-game in the solo self-found game mode, filling the Unique stash tab completely. This shit will take a long ass time and won't be easy, but I'm always down for a grind.
I'm Matt Lighty.
And this is All For One.
Hey guys, Matt Lighty here. This episode of All For One is just basically a little recap of what I've been up to little weeks before 3.25 is coming to an end, Settlers, and the beginning of 3.26. 3.26 will obviously be in the next episode, since this episode's coming out the day before launch. However, word from the sponsors. Ice-T Aesthetics, the home for all things lighting, the sponsor of the All For One series, is having some great new drops in the form of a really cool Hunter x Hunter shirt. But more importantly, for those who are really big into Sung Jung Woo, all the fun the fun stuff when it comes to solo leveling, there's some really fucking cool solo leveling shirts. Partial to the ones with the dragons and the daggers, because even if you don't give half of a flying fuck about solo leveling, it's just a cool looking dragon on a cool heavy tee. Ice-T Aesthetics does have a sweet little promo from Lighty himself using the promo code Lighty, 10% off all. Is it all order? Well, the thing's on the screen. Read that, and then after $100 you get free shipping, I think. Tons of cool designs with great drops that are happening in reflection of what's hot in the current anime season. I hope you enjoy it as well. Ooh, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Anyway, check out the stuff, and back to you, episode me. Yeah, you tell them, me. So anyway, here's the episode. Some fun banter in between, a little bit of heisting, quick merge update, and then a little PSA at the end for the upcoming league. Okay, enjoy. Why am I in fucking Canada? Actually, no idea. I hopped on just because I was about to do some grand heists, and I want to check what I had in Settlers, because it's been, 19 years of Settlers. But I do have a decent chunk, I believe, in Standard. I think I had 350,000-ish rogue markers. And then, maybe, I'm going to guess, half of that in, probably I'm going to, can I not teleport? Oh, barely alive. I think I have, half of that sitting in, what's it called? I can't even fucking think today. In Settlers. In rogue markers, the equivalent of. Also, I had a feared, so I'm just doing it. But I'm having a really hard time seeing what's even happening here. I'm just holding right click. Okay, I'm dead. I was just sitting in a puddle. I think that's what it was. I don't know, man. I'm holding right click. It's about how good this build was. Especially with my Svalin and my spooky haunted wand. But this was... I don't even think I could get anything from the feared that is of importance. But I had one, so... One in Rome, I guess. Awaken gems, legally. I won't, but I could. Oh, this filter's wrong. Where's my filter? Shaper shield? Ooh, 30% too. Always nice to see that. That's crazy. I think I forgot that this is a parent... Settlers is a parent league for a different league, so I don't even know what fucking league it was, but I have to, soft merge from, I think, maybe Necro Settlers into Settlers as its own thing. Kind of moronic, but here we are. Either way, rogue markers we are sitting on. Oh yeah, that's a lot. Alright, so we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 840,000 rogue markers. And I'm going to run all of these grand heists, and then another chunk in standard, and that in total will get us about 1 million rogue markers. So we are going to run a million rogue markers worth of grand heists, because I wanted to take a little bit of a break from Trial Master, and this feels like the best use of my time, since technically it is the most uniques I'm missing lie within the grand heist. Well, let's start our foyer into rogue heisting. I guess we're probably going to start in standard, where I have the least amount of markers, but the most amount of grand heists. And let's take all of our coins out, and then let's snag all of these. As long as there's 68 plus, they could roll everything, so it doesn't really even matter. I guess we'll start with this amount. I just like to run them white, so I'm just going to scour them. Then unfortunately we're going to have to spend a very long amount of time actually doing the assigning. We're going to run these with, because we have a lot of blueprints, so we're going to do probably 2 wings. If you keep it 2 wings, the average cost of running them stays at about 1,000-ish per. So I typically do. It gets really expensive when you start doing more. Thankfully, you can control click all of this shit. It's definitely one of the worst parts about Path, that is just like antiquated, just slow and clunky and archaic feeling, but it's what we got. So after that part's done and you actually revealed the wings, now we get to assign people. And it doesn't really matter at all at this stage of the game. Just kind of click whoever's on the left. There's differences. They do different things and they have different costs, and even assigning a smaller variety of people will reduce the overall cost of your grand heisting, but just takes, it's such a laborious, tedious process. I'm not playing the game yet. I'm doing the in-between of playing Path. Like, imagine if we had like a preset, you know, for running these. Think of all the steps, this is definitely the worst one because it's the most fiddly. You just have to click and assign out all the people, and I'm literally just running to the end and checking the curio, so it's like extra shit. Okay, so I've finished assigning people to this first set of grand heists. Now I get to actually run the grand heists, and that only cost me 100,000-ish rogue markers, but I do use rogue markers for running them, so each of these to begin will cost about 1,000-ish to 1,500. So that's an extra chunk there. But yeah, we've got a lot of rogue, got a lot of heisting to do. I'm doing this obviously with my what's it called build, my unkillable meme build. So because I don't give a shit. I'm just here to walk on through, you know. The only side rooms we're hitting, just to clarify, are jewelry ones, and I think that's it, because jewelry ones have a decent chance of dropping synthesis items. Aside from that, I couldn't care less about most anything that drops. So we're just here for the uniques, which we're going to talk about in a second. So if we take a look at our missing unique master list, we could see that we're missing replica Congors, replica Hyries, and replica Bated Breath. Alright, those are the 3 big replicas we are missing. So we are hoping to get, you know, any of those 3. Bated Breath, Hyries, or Congors. Congors is unusable as a 2-hand mace, worthless weapon. Replica Bated Breath is just incredibly rare and, again, unusable. But Hyries is actually, like, really nice for wand builds, certain wand builds. So that'd be pretty sweet to see that. Hoping we get a replica Hyries there. But of the average thing we're going to be getting is basically nothing. And when we get nothing, we just walk out. It's not even worth me, like, grabbing most stuff to take with me. I just leave. So, yeah, this is the process. It's pretty much this. We're going to do this until we use up all of our rogue markers or run out of grand heist, whichever comes first. I'm actually probably going to turn my RF off, simply because it hurts my eyes. Which might seem goofy, but we're going to be running so many heists that I don't even want to fucking look at that blue shit across my screen, you know? It's just going to be a nuisance to stare at, so I'm legit probably going to just not use Righteous Fire at the moment. I don't need the damage. I don't care about killing stuff. I'm just here to walk through. And it's just so much easier in my eyes to when it comes to running, you know, maybe hundreds of grand heists here, so that's definitely a much more relaxing experience for me. Oh, another heist exclusive, the Hidden Blade Ambusher. Sit kindly next to my Shatter Shard. I could use them both, Bonky.
Hidden Blade build.
Alright, Bonky, try again. Here's your intro attempt. Alright, counting down. 3, 2, 1, go.
On March 11th, 20,003.
Perfect.
Path of Exile released the unique stash tab. I knew
then
what I had to do.
I busted one last time.
I'm fucking fading.
Why are you falling asleep?
I started my fast today.
Fast?
He's
Yeah.
like Ethan.
I know what a
He's
fast
sad.
is, but why?
He's sad because he doesn't fit into his jeans
I'm
anymore.
fucking fat.
Okay, so you're just giving yourself the Dachau diet?
The beans,
Yeah.
salt water,
Eating salt
and
water.
sadness.
Just like,
Electrolyte water. Is that better?
is this like one of those liquid keto diets?
Not eating.
Starving
It's not a
yourself.
diet. This isn't a diet.
You're starving yourself.
I'm not gonna starve. I'm fucking fat.
Alright, but you're not going to eat food.
Fat people don't starve. Water. I might have some pickles.
Okay, why pickles?
They have no calories.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Pickles have no calories?
Yeah.
If you wanted to get skinny fast, you'd eat nothing but celery.
That's not true. You did nothing but ass 24/7. Pounding
And titties.
flesh and eating
Nah,
ass.
he'd eat
and
so
titties.
much ass he'd get fat again.
Plus, your brother would be so mad at you if you do that.
My brother? Why would he be mad at me?
Because he's the ass you're eating, Bonky.
Yeah,
Keep it in the
He'd
family.
be upset. He'd be upset.
He'd be so mad. You're telling me if you woke your brother up in the middle of the night by eating his ass, he wouldn't be mad at you. He'd be fucking pissed. He'd be fucking pissed off. But then he's gonna look back at as you're grumbling his undercarriage, and he's gonna say, I'm fasting," and then be like, "Oh, I get it."
I'd say, what's wrong, step bro?
Okay, so I finished that first set of Grand Heists, and this is what we got. Absolutely nothing I really care about, but we kept a couple of curio case replacements, just for the fact of corruptions, or they're rare, I guess. And we found a replica Nebulous, which is a quite rare curio case, unique of the replicas. It's like, if there was tiered rarity, it'd be tier 1 to tier 0. I think I've only ever seen 4 or 5, so they're quite rare. And replica Paradox, I just kind of keep for myself. But the only other currency we really give a shit about is Tempering Orbs and Tailoring Orbs, because they're used to enchant body armors and weapons, respectively. You know, mostly for the fact that you can't get them anywhere else, so it's one of the few things I grab. If there was a Tempering Orb or a duplicate curio case replacement that I don't need, like a Shatter Shard, I'm taking the Tempering Orb. I don't have a super high amount of them, 25 tailorings, because they're, I guess, in a vacuum worth less to enchant body armors, and Tempering Orbs because the weapons enchants are typically higher value, but also just weapons, you know, mostly will give you more damage, or there's like breakpoints where things get better, so we keep the weapon ones, or we use weapon ones more frequently. And then Divines, which don't really particularly matter too much to me, because the only thing I really use Divines on at the moment is Forbidden Shakos, trying to get something else better, but I keep getting dog shit because that's how that goes. And then stack decks, not that I really need them or want them, but we have so many because why not? Yeah, that's my first set, so now we're going to do our second set, and we are sitting on, still have, what is this, 240,000 rogue markers here, not to mention the ton we have left, but we're still working through our chunk of 1 million rogue markers, and we have a couple things to keep, but it's like, I don't really have room to put a lot of this stuff, is the bigger problem, so honestly I'm probably just going to destroy the Nebulous. I kind of just wanted to show off that I got it, but the Hidden Blade we keep, and the Shatter Shard we keep. I just have to make, I gotta make a place to put them. It's just, there's so much garbage I've got, you know, in my pile of garbage. Not sure why I even keep these replica Paradox, because I just don't think they can even be good, but I don't know why. I just have a fascination with them, even though I really think they're fucking terrible, but I keep grabbing them for some accursed reason. The problem is there's not enough. There's literally not even 6 mods you could get on a replica Paradoxica that thematically makes sense. Like, you would never ever use one over just like a mediocre rare, because it cannot roll 6 things. Even if it had a list where it said like this has every veiled mod, so many of them just don't jive together. Like, if the weapon had Elemental Pen and Chaos Pen, wouldn't matter. If it had, you know, spell damage that attacks, like, it wouldn't matter. It just, they're just cursed from the get-go. But I can't help my fascination with Replica Paradoxica. Maybe one day they'll be useful. Okay, so the merge has happened, and we finished cleaning up most of our characters. We're still trying to keep a bunch of them that are at least high level, and the only one that's lowish level is the Flicker Strike guy, Flickered damn near. But I just want to quickly go over what the state of our stash is as far as our organization, if you want to call it that, because we're coming into 3.26, which is the Merc League, and Settlers has ended. So there's a couple amendments that need to be made as far as like our organization. We have cleaned up most everything. Some of the things, like I think the heist or exped stuff hasn't come over, so I don't have the capacity to run some of our grand heists that I haven't gone through yet. And this patch thankfully didn't add any replicas, but that's okay. So just going through the tabs themselves, we have a hefty amount of exotic currency, general currency. Our poop tab we're trying to keep clean, but I just like can't, and that's okay. We have 14 map tabs we have to merge and carry on through, but there's just no room for them, so I kind of didn't. And for the Uber bosses, we're still seeing the duplicates of Awakener, Cosmic, for Shaper, tons of Elder, tons of Eater, and then just the only 3 we're missing for the Curio and missing Uniques when it comes to having the missing body armor from Synth, or the Wand from Maven, and then the Curios from those 2. I just don't have them yet, so I still have waiting for those. The Scarab, the Ultimatum, Trial Master one's the only one we're missing, but everything else I have large portions of. And for Breaches, I don't really need them. And Eldritch, we just run the Eaters and Exarchs we can. We need, try and get Flesh and Flames, so we don't have any. For div cards, we don't really have anything new. We did some gambling, but nothing of importance, because I'm not trying to acquire any uniques I don't have through gambling, because I think that would be unethical in that regard. And our previous league's poop tab, I didn't really bother cleaning it too much, so I'll probably just move and migrate it down. But one of the larger things is the change to memories. So memories were all going to get removed. This whole tab is going to be cleared. I did my damnedest to run all the Einhar ones we had for Beasts and for Harvest Juice, but there really wasn't anything that we got from it, so there's not much to report. The other ones are pretty cool. Like the other one I probably would keep, if anything, if I had kind of felt like running, was the ones that give you fractured incursion items, but because of Recombinators, I just kind of don't give a shit, Nothing much coming in from Delve or Oils. We have tons to run there, and same for Delirium. Ultimatum tab is just as it is. I've officially hit the cap on intrinsic catalysts from trying to get our hate forge, and we're at 112 Trial Masters there. So, and then let's talk about our Master Vault for a second. So a couple things was added. We had from this league, Admiral's Arrogance came from the Boat Boss. We had like 9 copies, and eventually we hit +1 Frenzies. We have one of those in there. The only glove we're missing now, just still Hate Forge, nothing's changed. The other thing that came in was the sword, the Living Blade. Somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here, somewhere here. Bingo. The Living Blade, which I want to say is a reference to the Null's blade from like the Marvel universe being like, the sword to kill gods. It kind of feels like that. A fucking unusable item if there ever was one, but I still like it. This came from the bandit captain. We only ever found the 1 too, I think. So this was like kind of a big deal. And then the other of the 3 map boss items, it was of course, one of the nicest items in the game, Fallen, which we do have a white socket version of. Ours is rolled quite well, so very cool to see that. I have no idea what it's going to be as far as the game's concerned. And then the only other real belts we had one, but these are the ones we saw from previously. Yinda's Stand. This was one of the shipping uniques, okay? This one came from our hardcore shipper that we did all the things to. The other one was the Calm's helmet, which I don't remember if it's Calm. Yeah, Calm's helmet, Calm's command, the Warcry one. There was the big bonker, where is the Tao's felling, and there was something else. I literally passed it. It's the Surly's Masterwork, which is an item that gets benefits from having triple enchants, which we can no longer put enchants in 3.26, so that's literally an absolute meme. Aside from that, the only other thing that came in was the Light of Meaning, which was, where is it? Oh, there it is. We have different variations of, but this is the one from the King of the Mist. So we have Light of Meaning, and then all the tinctures, which we now have 100% of the tincture tab. It's one of the saddest looking tabs. So yeah, that was all the uniques there. We're going to quickly move on. We made another tab for Possible Escapes, Replica Fangs, Great Wolves, and then Sanctum Tomes. That just kind of happened. Our rare tabs are an absolute fucking disaster. The Bonky Zone tabs are also just rare tabs. We had a bunch of Glaciers came in from Settlers for me running there. And then our corpses, we have a really nice array of. We're only keeping perfect corpses. I don't have enough to ever really utilize them. I almost have enough like perfect needle horrors, but I just want to keep collecting perfect corpses. And to that point, Scour chances we literally are capped out on. We have 15,000 chances, 10,000 here. They're adding an option at crafting benches for 1 button Scour chancing, and there's no base game uniques I'm currently missing, but the prospect of having a button where I could just unlock my mouse wheel, change my left click to the mouse wheel, and just spam Scour chancing really easily is really enticing, so I'm going to hoard those, because 15,000 attempts is a pretty solid chance at even like a T0. So, yeah, our individual tabs are still the same. Our dump tabs have yet to be cleared through. Our jewel tabs are an absolute fucking fiasco. Incubators are still in the game somehow, and I need to get rid of those. Our unique heists exist, but for what reason I couldn't tell you. Tattoos are being made to the base game. So, this maybe will get a specialty tab in the future. Maybe Omens will also. I'd love to clear some room out there. We keep a couple bases and flash gems, then we're on to remove only. So, of the uniques we're missing, let's talk briefly about sending attempts at things, because I can't do some. Ori Ascend, I obviously have, I'm using right here. I could grab a second to put in the stash, but I'm still going to be using the cast and channeling build for any sort of standard activity, so that seems kind of moot. Funnily enough, Chain Reaction DD was nerfed, but as I am the smartest man in the room always, I swapped to Volatile Dead months ago because I thought it was more funny looking. And that means that this version I'm playing of this build is untouched yet again. I could survive in standard like a happy little camper. For amulets, it is the Utmost, which obviously we don't have because we haven't gotten the cures to draw from Ubers, and Strangle Gasp, which we get from Blights, which we've just not gotten, although I am getting closer to that number of 100 on average. Defiance is right there. We've yet to get a second, but we have a perfect legacy, so the second would just be filling the tab. For rings, it's just Original Sin, which has not been buffed, but Sanctum's been nerfed in 3.26, so the enticement to do that is even at an all-time low. Claws we have, daggers we have, wands, it's just Grace of the Goddess, which is getting buffed, thankfully, so if I do get one off of Uber Maven in this upcoming league, it'll at least be a better version. Swords Echo Forge from regular Maven, still don't have that, despite having upwards of 500 KC. Axes, none. Maces, still Replica Kongor, which we're forever plucking replicas. Bows we've got. Stabs, we have the 1 in 100 Burden of Truth, and the Wings of Fate, Wings from Sanctum, Burden from King of the Mist, don't have either, despite having the rough KC to get them. Quivers we've got. Belts, just replica baited. I had div cards, I gambled them away because I don't care, and I wouldn't use them anyway, because getting it through div cards and not through heist is a cop-out. Gloves, we talked about being Hate Forge. Boots, Annihilation's Approach, but I've already got them, so I would just have to get a second for a placeholder, but I have to do Exarch to try to get the Curio, so the 20% chance of dropping Annihilation's Approach still just fill my stash tab, and that's fine. Body armors, Replica Hyres, Heist, sucks, Stasis Prison, Unrelenting 5-Ways, sucks, Apostate, Uber Cortex, never got to drop, 8% chance, however 20 KC, totally getting milked there. Helmet, Faith Guard, I'm doing Exped this upcoming league, so hopefully by the skin of my little taint, we'll be able to get enough KC that we could just happen to get one. It's just a base drop from Exped, including logbooks, so it's like, nothing I can do. And for shields, it's just Apep Supremacy, because my Aziri's Reflections on my Trickster, which was an Uber boss killer, but that build's getting nuked, so I just have to swap out into a different strike skill. Maps, I've got them all. Jewels, it is the 2 missing Grand Spectrums, for I believe Power and Frenzy Charge, Power Charge, both of those, and then the Rational Doctrine, which is the 2% chance from Uber Cortex. Contracts I've got, Tinctures I've got. In the upcoming league, there's going to be 20 new uniques in the Merc League, as far as half from the Merc League, or probably like 6 from the Merc League, and then a chunk from the actual expansion Secrets of the Atlas. 3 new Uber bosses, but they're not Uber, they're just Pinnacle bosses, so somewhere in between. T16.5 maps. Overall, all the content is actually going to be easier in relative difficulty than content I'm currently doing. I'll be playing so much Path that I should be able to conquer all of that, pun intended, and get through hoarding of most of our stuff so we could bring back a good boatload of goodies to standard and make some progress. Unfortunately, every single thing I'm missing is just a 1 in 100 drop on a piece of content that takes a long time to access, and there's nothing I can do about it. So we're just going to keep plugging away, but that's pretty much it for the All-For-One episode. This is just a little update on what was happening in Standard, some stuff from the results from the merge, and just going into the next league. So next episode you'll get at the end of the next week following launch weekend, and you'll have a new intro, as always. and new stuff, and it'll be a fresh league, fresh times after a full year of nothingness. So, hope you enjoyed it. I'm Matt Lighty. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys for league launch. Bye-bye. Well, that's the only one I know. The problem with there's no real slurs against Jews is because we're so historically successful. But that doesn't bother us because we run the banks and the weather.
Yeah, they just don't give a shit.
I sent a tornado to Fetch his house last week. It's just like,
again?
Yeah, I know.
It's my turn with the laser next week.
I did see that, but I was also blasted, so I didn't like reach out to see if he died.
Yes, no. Yesterday he's in Discord last night, and he says, "Yeah, we almost had another near miss to the tornado." And then I said, "Yeah, I know." He said, "Oh, okay."